Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Astronaut.
No, I think he could commit an act of evil so great that
He gets launched into space?
Yeah.
That would be pretty crazy.
In a satellite. We're both super tired.
This week has been
Welcome to the party.
trial.
It's just that I have had like 4 hours of sleep. Hello? Can you put your head right there? Thank you. I don't know. Tybalt's angry because my nephew was over today, and so I was giving him attention instead of Tybalt, and I was like, Mom, you don't love me as much. And I was like, well, that's a human over there.
You're a cat.
And you're a kitty.
So, one of you falls over on
Whose
a regular
shitbox
basis.
I have to clean.
Yeah.
So, here we are to talk about the sexiest man alive, Gaul.
Also, in full disclosure, I did not read the chapters nor the summaries, so...
She sort of aggressively told me that she wasn't going to either.
Yeah,
it was really iconic.
It was like their parent chapters, and I was like, nah.
Never mind then. That's
Okay,
because they're mostly bad. Hey, can you chill for like a second? I know you want to get on the table, but here's the thing. I don't want you to get on the table. And I am bigger. I'm big, you're small. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
It's from Matilda, the movie with Danny DeVito.
Yes, I know what Matilda is, Emily.
Well, you kind of looked into space like you didn't know. So.
Okay.
Speedboat salesman, really nice guys. Keep snoring. Little demon.
No, he makes that weird wheezing noises.
Same as Jack. When Jack is looking at the fan, he's like,
I just need it.
I want to touch it. And I'm like, that's the opposite of what you should do.
You should not touch
Your
it.
little chubby hands will get chopped right off.
Well, I don't know if it's going quite that fast.
Yeah, probably he'd be okay.
Probably just hurt.
Hurt his chubby little hands, which is equally, not equally, which is...
It's equally, whether it just gets bruised or chopped off, it's like, it's all the same in the end, you know?
It's all an inconvenience, you know?
We're all just air conditioners, walking around, conditioning the air. It's another Danny DeVito bit from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I have never seen, nor do I have any desire to, so don't fucking tweet me about it.
I've seen like 2 episodes, and I was like, oh, I see how people would like this and like enjoy it, but
Okay, goodbye,
that is not me because I don't know. I like reading about good people. I mean, watching good people.
Yeah, but one of my old roommates really loved it, and there's this episode where Danny DeVito his character pretends to be an art critic.
I don't know if Danny DeVito is playing anyone or if he's just being Danny DeVito.
Yeah. But he's in a gallery and he sees an air conditioning unit, like one of the old ones, and he's like, oh, this is part of the show. And they're like, no, that's an air conditioning unit. And he's like, aren't we all just air conditioners walking around conditioning the air and fucking each other? It's like really weird.
I do love Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
He's
so
weird. And the only other It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia quote that I know is like, would you like an egg in this trying time?
What?
Danny DeVito says that. He just like offers someone an egg. I don't know what the context is, but it made me think of us. Because, you know, egg. Egghead.
You know, good egg. You ate shit.
You just like your father. Actually, Egg's dad is an innkeeper, so he's an entrepreneur.
Isn't Egg also an entrepreneur?
She definitely
of
is.
the political bent?
Yeah, and the religious bent in a little bit. If we push the fantasy pope thing,
Oh yeah.
I don't
Young
really know.
Pope.
Young Pope, that's her. That's our
Egg.
girl Egg. What is an innkeeper? Like, what is the equivalent in today's society? There's like nothing quite like a fantasy innkeeper, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We interact with an innkeeper in this, I just wanted to call it this episode, I guess this episode of the podcast.
Mm.
These couple chapters with Perrin, and he's just like such a greasy fellow. Obsequious, that's the word.
Perrin doesn't know the fucking word obsequious. Robert Jordan, know your characters.
Oh no, he doesn't say it, I'm saying it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
God.
Perrin uses 3-letter words only.
The cat.
The cat run. Hey, there he goes.
He's gonna eat. He's gonna munch.
He gonna crunch. You crunch on that adult cat food.
I know, it's very big. I think he's confused.
Yeah, he's like, what happened to my bite-sized pieces?
No.
I didn't get any bigger, and we're like, we know.
Because you're
very confusing.
fucking little.
Just
You've been that size since birth.
so weird.
We have a weirdly small cat. Okay, this is our podcast or something. I don't know.
Thanks for breaking in. I was floundering in the dark trying to find my way to the intro. This is Everybody Hates Rand or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Your friendly neighborhood We Love Time podcast. Did you watch the new Spider-Man trailer?
No.
There was
Bold of you to assume I've watched any trailer, except the It 2 trailer.
Yeah, I'm really
which I was
sorry.
forced to watch against my will.
In the trailer, Tom Holland says something about being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and Nick Fury is like, you've been to space! You can't be a friendly neighborhood. And I was like, the neighborhood is just bigger. Space.
That's true. The actual term is your cosmic neighborhood.
Yeah, so... What?
Fuck you, Nick Fury. Go
Yeah.
to class.
Not that Peter... Oh, I can't wait for Peter Parker to go to space with Captain Marvel. My wife and my son. Anyway, I'm Emily Jushaw or something.
I'm the other one.
I hate when you say that.
I'm Sally Goodger. But I am the other one.
No, I'm the other one.
No, I'm the other
We're
one.
both the other one.
No, you are
This is like that
obvious-
Spider-Man. I'm sorry to keep bringing up Spider-Man. This is...
No, you
Different
are
Spider-Man.
obviously primary host because you actually read the chapters. And
I've-
I'm like, Wheel of what now?
Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, but Wheel of Time AU, where it's all a game show.
Well, Matt would win.
Natch.
Natch.
I
Just
feel like
because-
Egg might give him a run for his money.
Yeah, Egg would, get really good, get really far based on, strategy and
Yeah.
actual, good technique, whereas Matt would just win because he's
Oh, you're right,
fucking
because
lucky.
he's lucky. I
Yeah.
was thinking because he's a clever little
I mean,
bitch.
he also is a clever little bitch, but,
because he's just
he and
lucky.
Egg are equally clever, I think.
Yeah, Mash has got those luck powers. We spent a whole episode talking about that. I can't believe I forgot.
Luck powers. Luck powers. Robots in disguise.
Emily, luck powers doesn't sound anything like Transformers. Are you
It's the
having
same
a
amount of
stroke?
syllables. It's the same amount of syllables.
Are you having a stroke?
I know the acronym for stroke. F.A.S.T. I can't remember what any of the
You
letters
know the acronym.
stands for, but I think F is facial drooping. You know.
F is for facial drooping.
I don't remember A. And S is slurring.
Word speech.
Yeah, slurred speech, and T is just time or something.
Get that bitch to the hospital.
Yeah, get him to the hospital fast. What is that A? Asshole. Something else.
Check their asshole.
No. Don't do it. It was dangerous.
Yes. Or pleasurable.
Mom, if you're having a stroke, I'm going to say, in that context, I just don't know. We need to veer away from this territory. We're in dangerous territory.
Here
It's
there
like
be dragons.
the Oregon Trail up in here. We're going to die of cholera. Speaking of assholes. Is that the diarrhea one?
I think that's no.
Dysentery.
Thank you. Diphtheria.
No, cholera also has
I
diarrhea.
think everything just gives you
I know, because
diarrhea.
yeah, that's true. Pretty much everything. Do you know what medieval history was? They were like, here's a medicine and it'll make you poop or throw up. And everyone was like, that doesn't seem like medicine. And they were like, but it did something and we could see it do something. Therefore, medicine.
Today I had a binder clipped to my shirt for a variety of reasons.
Sure, yeah, as one does.
I walked into the break room and there was like some free sandwiches, which happens pretty frequently these days because there's a lot of events and we just get the leftover food. Mm-hmm. And one of the keepers, who I adore, he's so nice, is like, why is there a binder clip on your shirt? And I was like, it's reminding me to keep it together. And he was like, okay.
Okay. Run away.
He was like, okay, goodbye.
I just realized this is exactly how my most recent blog started because I also read Perrin chapters in that one, so I just didn't want to write about it, so I talked about like a childhood story for a full page.
Well, Perrin is boring, categorically.
Yeah, this whole sequence, we get him kind of narrating. They're like coming up on another village. They've been following Rand. The chapter actually starts with like Perrin seeing Darkhound like footprints. I wanted to say hoofprints for some reason.
Nailed it.
Oh boy.
Would you guys like a fun bird fact?
Yeah.
That's based on feet.
Okay.
She forgot. No, I remember. I just don't know what to say. So one of the most common things that avian keepers, bird care staff, do is check feet and footprints, because feet are actually one of the best ways to tell an animal's like health.
Oh, that's
so, like,
interesting.
You check their footprints. I don't know exactly how, because I don't understand how science works.
I can see how like
birds,
general footprints with like birds, like if you have like this is what good healthy footprints look like taking off and landing, and like you could see if the bird was injured. I just don't know about like sick or anything.
Yeah, you're so smart.
Anyway, Perrin doesn't see bird prints.
he
sees doggy prints.
He says doggy prints, but they're in stone. So he's like, this can't be right. He's just like, whatever, it's a weird fossil. Moves the fuck on.
Perrin is dumb.
I know, he's also like, and it smells kind of weird, like fireworks just went off. And he's like, okay, some farm children must have set off fireworks. And like, to be fair, no one sat down the boys and was like, here's the Shadow Realm bestiary, and here's the signs of all the various like creatures. Like, I think this is our first interaction with Darkhounds.
Yeah, I think so.
And of course they're, introduced via Perrin.
Because they're dogs.
Because, get it? Canine. Get it? Get it?
Canine to 5, waking up at the crack of dawn.
Okay.
Canine to 5, working all day long. When you love your job, it feels great to be alive. Working like a dog. Okay, that's the end of the theme song. It's a pretty short one, so you had to let me finish.
Yeah, except you yelled at me during Cat Saber, so...
Because that was a fake song.
It's not a fake song! I'll show it to you on YouTube!
I will not watch anything on YouTube.
It's just Buster Baxter being the Cat Saber. Arthur.
You keep saying words that end in R, and I don't know what any of them mean.
Okay.
Buster Baxter, Cat Saber on Arthur.
Yeah, the Arthur the Aardvark, that television show, that classic television show.
I've seen Arthur, Emily.
The only other show I watched as a child besides Redwall, them Dragon Tales. I watched Dragon Tales. By the way, why does everyone care so much about the dragons in Game of Thrones? Just like curious. They're just CGI. They're not real.
Okay, Perrin sees a dog or something.
Perrin sees dog prints and like smells sulfur, but he's like whatever, writing it off. So they're on their way to another village. Land's gone off scouting. Perrin kind of, as they're just riding, is like, we've been going at this breakneck pace because Moiraine's like, we gotta catch up to that ginger-haired boy. Loyal isn't even reading in the saddle anymore. That's how bad it's gotten.
That's too fast.
I know, it's way too fast if Loyal can't read and ride at the same time. Which, by the way, that almost makes riding sound really fun to me if I could read a book and do it. I'd have to have, like, an intimate bond with the horse, though, Otherwise, it would walk off like, kick me off or something.
Did you read all the Chronicles of Narnia books?
Yeah, The Horse and His Boy.
It was a very good one.
I haven't read it in a very long time.
I just remember that was like, I read the Chronicles of Narnia when I was like 18.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or like, no, I must have been 16.
I would think I was like 12.
Yeah, that tracks for most humans. And I just remember that like interest. That was like the first time I read a book that talked about how like you're supposed to ride a horse with your knees.
Oh, interesting. I think the first one I read about that was The Hero in the Crown, Robin McKinley. Best book of all time. Anyway, so Loyal and Perrin kind of chat, but Perrin's mostly thinking about how, like, he kind of recounts the villages that they've been through, and there's been, like, another one, like, the crops were really bad, but the mayor, like, happened to find literally, like, a hidden treasure under his house at the same time, so they're gonna be fine. And, like, in another village, the entire village burned down. And it was just, like, bad luck after bad luck. Because, like, all the walls fell outward. So everything else caught fire. And half the buckets had holes in them. So it was just, like, nothing these people could do to save the town. And, like, in one, there were some, like, murders of each other. And this is, like, really upsetting to Perrin. Because he's, like, okay, I was willing to accept that, like, the whole weddings thing was, like, a side effect of Rand being there. But, like, that's, like, fine stuff. That's, like, good stuff. But that other stuff is just, like, evil. So, like, I can't really accept that Rand's causing good and evil. And Moirane's like, well, like, Rand himself might be good, but the pattern is neither good nor evil. It just, like, is. And that's, like, a really hard concept for Perrin, because he's all idealistic and wants the world to just be, like, good. And if you're evil, then you're going, like, against what the universe wants.
Yeah.
Which is, like, a comforting worldview, if that's your worldview, but, like, what Moiraine is saying is that's not how it works.
Yeah.
To Perrin, and it's like, we don't really get any further discussion of this. Perrin never thinks about his worldview in that way ever again, like, cosmically.
Yeah.
There's not a problem that Perrin wants to solve, I guess. He'd rather think about axes versus hammers, or whatever. Yeah, boring. But they kind of pull up to this next village. Lan warns them. He's like, it's pretty weird in there. And they're like, okay, like, what could be going on?
How much weirder can it get?
Yeah, how much weirder can it get? There were murders and weddings. Whatever. But they pull up, and there is, like, set in the town square, there's, like, a cage just, like, sitting there, like, kind of hung up, so it's, like, above the ground. And there are just, like, kids throwing rocks at it, which is, like, hey, here's human cruelty at its finest.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's that boy Gaul, but we don't know that yet. We haven't been introduced to him. Perrin just, like, looks at him and is like, he looks really familiar. And then just, like, moves the fuck on, because Perrin doesn't have a single, like, competent thought in his body.
Yeah, he can't be like, well, it's weird that there's a person in a cage having rocks.
Well, he's like, oh, I feel bad for, like, this guy in the cage, and this is gross, but, like, doesn't do anything about it, and later he really regrets that, but it's just like, then someone is like, oh, that's an ailment, and Perrin's like, oh, that's how he looks familiar. I've seen Ale before, and they all look like Rand. And I'm like, Perrin, you dipshit, I remembered this from a full book ago. Like, how many pages was that? Come on.
Idiot.
Yeah, dummy.
I feel like there are several cage jokes we need to make.
Okay, go for it. Do you want to wait until at the end when he gets out of the cage? Okay.
Fine. When
Just
he's
like,
coming out of his cage and doing just fine.
Just, like, hold it in for a minute.
What do you fear, my lady?
A cage. Oh my god! Gaul could be Eowyn. I'd dig that. Anyway, they go into the inn where the innkeeper, like I said, is this kind of gross, obsequious dude who's, like, you know, polite and really cares about their station and everything, but is also, like, anxious, like, tripping over himself to be like, look at this cool thing that happened. There are these hunters of the horn in town, and these two guys, like, came across 20 ale and, like, killed all of them except for this guy that they captured, and we put him in the cage, and they're really injured now, but they're, like, heroes. And Perrin's like, okay. One of the guys comes down the stairs and is like, where's the nurse? My head hurts. Save me. Like, someone pay attention to me. Glory. Bragging. Bullshit. Men. I know. I was thinking about how it seems like Perrin is the character who has interactions with men who are like, intent upon boosting their own egos. Like, there's kind of this mirroring thing that happens in book 4, unfortunately, when he interacts with, what's his bucket, Lord Luke, who turns out to be, like, an evil guy and, like, a dark friend and whatever, but just, like, Perrin keeps having these interactions with, like, noble people who are, rather than, like, having Rand and Matt, who have kind of eye-opening experiences with noble people, where they're like, oh, rich people are people too, unfortunately.
Well.
Matt's like, still don't like them, but they are people, I guess. I'm married to one, whatever. And then Perrin's just like, everyone is insufferable. And it's just, like, this really weird thing, because I don't know if it's, like, meant to contrast to us that, like, Perrin is just this really humble guy or something.
Yeah.
Like, look at him, he's just a blacksmith, he just wants to do his thing, and he can't really, he's so folksy and earthy, he can't put up with these, you know, weird social
He's just
structures.
such a folk hero.
He's just such a folk hero, which, yeah, that is Perrin. Yeah. How do you, like, distinguish between Perrin being a folk hero and Matt being, like, a culture hero?
Oh, that's interesting.
Is that what it is? Because Matt is very much this, like, figure of creation myths.
Yeah.
Of, like, bringing fire, and we've talked about this before, and, like, you know, he has comparisons to, like, Robin Hood, but Robin Hood is himself kind of a culture hero.
At this point, yeah.
Of, like, being, like, English culture is very much dependent upon Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And then Perrin's just kind of like this Paul Bunyan guy.
Yeah.
Who, like, Perrin's like, look at this. Like, there's this guy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I don't know enough about the definitions of culture hero and folk hero.
I don't either. I don't even know if there's a difference or if I'm just, like, making one up, but it kind of feels like...
It feels like there's a difference. Because, like, if you take Paul Bunyan, which is kind of, like, the American folk hero versus Prometheus, who's a culture hero, there's, like, feels like a categorical difference.
Well, and it's like, with Paul Bunyan, I can't think of, like, a moral to the story, necessarily, the way I can for most of those, like, culture hero stories.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then there's, like, Rand, who's this religious hero.
Yeah.
More or less. Apocalypse hero. I don't know. Something to, like, keep on the back burner. I don't...
Yeah,
really...
I feel like we can talk more about that in book 4 when Perrin, like, gets into it.
Yeah, and is, like, having his big folk hero moment.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's one of the things about Wheel of Time is that it sort of nudges you to look towards the future of how these people will be viewed.
Yeah.
And, like, what the world is going to be like when these people are dead and gone and they're just, you know, stories. And it's kind of like, yeah, you can see how Matt would just become this crazy mythological figure who's doing all this, like we've said, episodic bullshit, like, very godly stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have Perrin, who it's just like, and yeah, and he just, like, saved this one village and, you know, then went around saving all the, like, poor people and kind of rescuing refugees and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, this is, like, a story that isn't crazy in the way Matt's are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
That is an interesting thing about in terms of, like, we talked about Matt being episodic and, like, how the story will be told in the future. Because, like, heroes don't have a thinking of, like, Greek heroes, they don't have a cohesive narrative. It's, like, X, 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 X.
Well, and, like, where I'm at in the series, in the Towers of Midnight, we're already getting that. Like, Matt is interacting with stories about him already. Like, which he's just coming in contact with people who are like, oh, yeah, I've heard about so-and-so, not knowing that it's Matt. And it's like, he's done all this stuff, and, you know, there's, like, minor warpings of the stories of what actually happens, and Matt's like, no, that did happen. No.
Yeah.
And there's just, like, not quite the same thing happening with Perrin.
Yeah.
Or with Rand, really. And, like, or the stuff that Rand's doing is, like, no one believes, which is interesting.
Like, whatevs.
Everyone's like, that's too cosmic to believe. Anyway, so that's fun. But this, Perrin sort of instantly is like, okay, well, I hate these Hunters of the Horn. They're douchebags. And they just kind of are, like, go up to their rooms, but on their way up, Perrin, like, looks back because he feels someone looking at him and, like, happens to see this woman, this, like, young woman who's, you know, he describes, blah, blah, blah. It's Fail. Spoiler alert.
Oh, shit! Sirens go off.
But Perrin's like, oh, she was looking at me, and I don't know why she was looking at me. This is so Then he goes up to his room and literally just sits there as it gets darker, thinking about this.
So weird.
And it's so bizarre, because I do at times find Perrin's, like, methodical thought process very endearing.
Mm-hmm.
Except that I don't think Robert Jordan writes it the way I want it to be most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he narrates Perrin's thoughts in a very weird, like, outside of Perrin's thoughts, rather than just monologuing from Perrin.
like a stream of consciousness kind of.
Yeah, if Perrin was just, like, sitting there, like, thinking to himself, like, here's what this could be, here's what like, if I could actually see what's going through Perrin's head. Because when Robert Jordan just says, Perrin's sitting here for hours thinking about this stuff, and he's not coming up with any answers, so he just, like, keeps going over it, thinking maybe, you know, I'll eventually come to it if I'm just methodical and slow. And it's like, okay, when I'm not in Perrin's head, that just makes him sound like an idiot, you know?
Yeah, or it's just, like, frustrating. It's like, why make me read that at all? It's like, it's not... It really doesn't actually add anything to Perrin's character.
That he just is thoughtful. It's like, okay, fine.
Like, let me believe it.
Show, like, it's the thing, show me, don't tell me, you know?
Yeah.
At which, if you have Perrin sitting here for a while thinking, and then eventually being like, okay, and I'm just gonna go free the ailment in the cage. Which is basically what he does.
Is this when he talks to Moiraine about?
Yeah, okay, there. Loyal does come in at one point and is like, do you want dinner? And Perrin's like, no, I'm thinking. And it's like, okay. Loyal's like, okay, you dipshit.
He's like, well, I'm gonna eat.
Loyal's like, I'm eating. You're the worst best friend of all time.
You're the worst best friend. I love you.
Poor Loyal.
I know.
These dumb boys that aren't even nice to him most of the time.
Does he spend any time with Matt alone?
No.
Well, that explains it. He gets the two worst ones.
Well, I mean, he wasn't. They, like, have time together in books too, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I know he's, like, with Perrin for a while, and then he's with Rand sometimes.
Yeah, he's with Perrin for a while, and he's with Rand for a little while.
Yeah.
And kind of, like, in and out. But, yeah, he kind of goes off on his own and does his own thing for a while. Which is, like, good for you, Loyal, but, yeah. The fact that he has... Could
you imagine?
The fact that he has minimal interactions with Mad does speak to be honest, I think they'd hate each other. Yeah, they're not very compatible.
But imagine all the good stuff Loyal would have to write about.
Loyal would be like, listen to the dumbest shit that Matt did today. Loyal would lose his grasp on objective narration with Matt.
He'd be like, Dear Diary, catch a load of this shit.
Dear Diary, I'm gonna be real with you.
We're about to spill the tea.
This kid is buck wild.
This kid just put a firework in his mouth.
I think this kid
spat it.
Was dropped on his head a few too many times as a child, because look at what he's doing now. Creating cannons. What the shit?
Why?
What's to what end? Matt's like, destruction. But more importantly, explosion. Fire. King explosion murder.
I need to see it blow up!
But, yeah, Perrin is like, I'm gonna go talk to Moiraine. So he just goes to her room, knocks, enters, and then there's, like, this awkward moment where she, like, hitches her robe up on her shoulders. So it's like, is she just buck naked under there? What's the...
I hope so.
Perrin doesn't really tell us. He's just, like, blushing furiously.
Perrin's like, a shoulder!
No, Perrin literally, like, has this whole monologue where he's like, Matt would have asked her to dance. No, he wouldn't have. Matt has more self-preservation skills than that. He's like, but I danced with her one time and I was super close. But she's so pretty. And I'm like, what is happening here? This wouldn't happen to Gandalf. What's happening?
Could you imagine? Pippin rolls in
Pippin rolls in, Gandalf hitches up his robe, Pippin leaves and is significantly more sexually confused than when he entered. First of all, gross. The age difference. But if anyone could pull off that scene, it would be Ian McKellen and Billy Boyd.
It's so funny. Just imagining Ian McKellen
like doing that feminine
modestly.
Little, like, modesty. And then he's like holding the robe closed with one hand, the way Moiraine is. Man.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Imagine it's like this pink silk robe. It's like not even his wizard's robes. Okay.
It's like, what's happening? Gandalf's like, it's self-care. You bitch. Get out of here. Pervert of a Duke. God, my stomach hurts, and that's gonna be the title of the episode.
Pervert.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyway, yeah, it is, like, super gross that Perrin's just like, oh, here's my mentor, and because she's a woman and this book
I have to
sucks
sexualize
ass,
her, yeah.
I have to talk about how hot she is and how I put my dick in her, I guess, but, like, only objectively speaking, because it's more...
But, like, not really.
Shut up.
It's like, ugh.
But, of course, it, like... I don't want to say that it makes sense, because I think it's garbage, but, like... The insertion of Fail into the narrative is like Perrin's sexual awakening, so to speak. Like before this, Perrin has not had any.
Perrin is a totally asexual creature up until this point, which is like fine. And you know what would be awesome if Perrin just continued to be an asexual person.
Like, whatever.
Was like whatever, not really into it. But yeah, so like you can see Robert Jordan's thought process in putting this scene where it is.
Yeah, like, it's supposed to, like, signify, like, a difference in Perrin's thought, but it's, like, weird because I would think it would have happened, like, after more interaction with Fail. I don't know. It shouldn't have happened at all. It's dumb.
It should, yeah.
It's one of those weird, like, literary symbolic things. Like, if you guys have ever read Their Eyes Were Watching God, which I would recommend a lot. It's a really good book. There's this, like, really extended scene where the main character, Janie, I think her name is, like, stands under a budding peach tree, and it's this, like, dramatic monologue about the peach blossom. But, of course, for women, it's always, like, flowers and vaginas. We had a whole conversation about that, I think, on this podcast.
We did. It's dumb.
But there's always some, like, literary, weird, twisty, sexual awakening. They can't just be like, and he was horny.
Yeah,
it has to be, like, a weird thing.
And it's, like, you can see why, like... In a way, I'm happy that, like, Fail herself isn't actually immediately sexualized. Fail's allowed to, like, be a person. And, you know, I have other issues with the way she's portrayed right off the bat, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole enemies to lovers trope in terms of poorly written straight romance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it can be done, but it wasn't done here. So, like, I do appreciate that Vale can be her own deeply annoying, obnoxious, immature person and is not, like, a pair of tits, you know, just immediately.
You're right.
Like, that's good, but it's like, you don't have to do the same thing to Moiraine either. Like, just have Perrin see, like, a hot barmaid if you need to have a sexual awakening moment, you know? Or, hey, here's a hint, have him be like Gaul. Sexy motherfucker.
Whoa! If I saw Gaul, oh my god, guys, remember how Gaul is 6'9"?
I can't with it.
How does he fit in that cage?
He's literally, they describe him, he's just, like, hunched there.
Oh, poor baby.
I know, he's, like, got his knees doubled up to his chin. He literally has to sit like this.
Oh, poor baby.
And he's there for, like, a full day.
I'm very worried about him.
I know, I'm very worried about Gaul.
But imagine you, like, break this ailment out of a cage, and he swings down, and he's 6'9", and you're not immediately, like,
there's a serious
ready.
lack of men describing tall men. It's like, if you're a man... I would like your input on this. If you're, like, a man who's, like, a normal height, or, like, a short man, which... no, Derek, why are you calling me? Just a second.
Oh my gosh, Derek.
Derek's the maintenance guy, and I love him.
Hi, Derek.
Derek! What's up? Why do bad things happen to good people?
I'm sorry, Engel.
What the fuck? What were we talking about? Moiraine.
Moiraine being unnecessarily sexualized, but then Perrin's like, I think she's a bad guy.
Yeah, Perrin's like, you said you can, like, sense when really bad dark friends are around. You sense anything like that? And Moiraine's like, no. Why? And Perrin's like, this girl was staring at me. And Moiraine's like, you dumbass.
Whoa.
Perrin's like, you sentient pair of shoulders. Like, come on.
You sentient.
She just likes you. And Perrin's like, that's never happened to me before.
And Moiraine's like, not that you've noticed,
and
you
Moiraine's like, well, you're an idiot, you goddamn... and sends him off on his merry way. So then he just, like, waltzes downstairs and just, like, goes out to the, like, town square and is, like, kind of there before he's like, and I'm gonna, like, free this guy.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like a direct contrast to him being all slow and thoughtful and methodical, and then just suddenly he's doing something, and it's like, I guess I've decided to do this, so, like, pick a side, Robert. But he gets out there, there's, like, a description of the mechanics of the cage, because of course there are. Like, Perrin has to, like, brace himself and, like, pull the cage up a little bit before he can get enough slack to then let it down. So, I mean, he's then hoisting the cage plus 6 feet and 9 inches
And
of
Gaul's like,
pure man beef.
man beef!
And Gaul's like, man flesh. Literally, Perrin is describing smells and says something about, like, man smell. And I was like, man flesh.
Ew, though, first of all, disgusting.
Yeah, like, first of all, disgusting, but also, man flesh. Anyway, it's this, like, creepy thing, because it's, like, the dead of night, and, like, they're in a town square. Anybody could look out their dang windows and see Perrin in the middle of, like, letting this guy out. But Perrin gets him down and is, like, opens the cage, which, by the way, he uses his axe to open the cage. Like, he uses, like, the point of the axe as, like, a little crowbar. So that's just, like, point 1 in favor of, like, axe can't do creative, productive things. Yeah. Come on.
Perrin, your rhetoric
Axes
is dull.
Yeah, Perrin.
Like your axe.
That's not true. He's a blacksmith. He'd keep it very sharp, don't you think?
Yeah.
We never do see him sharpening his axe,
Yeah,
though. So who knows? Maybe he's just, like, dull. Like Perrin himself. I'm sorry we're roasting Perrin so hard.
He just sucks. This chapter made me so mad with him when he's like, I think Phil's bad. And Perrin's like, she wants to put your dick in her mouth.
Like, come on.
Perrin's like, what? That happens?
Perrin's like, I've never heard of it. Are you giving me the sex talk right now? And Maureen's like, I guess.
My God, sit
Jesus.
down. Pulls out a banana and a condom.
Maureen's like, this is a condom. It's the only reason your
parents didn't use one?
Your parents didn't use one. That was a mistake.
My parents are lawyers. Your parents are related.
Hurricane Bianca. The best movie of all time. But Perrin, like, opens the door for Gaul and is like, you need to, like, get out of here. Like, you shouldn't just sit there. And Gaul's like, literally, like, doing pull-ups on the top of the cage. Gaul's like, I've been sitting in that cage for, like, 24 hours, so my legs aren't really full functioning. Yeah, you need to give me a minute.
Yeah.
He's like, but you're a strong guy. What's happening? He, like, calls Perrin a wetlander, and Perrin's like, what are you talking about, wetlander? And Gaul's like, I saw a bitch swimming in the river yesterday. What was that about? Never seen that much water in my life. And Perrin's like, oh, jeez. Okay.
Are you okay?
And Gaul's like, no. It was deeply horrifying.
Yeah, I drank lizard blood.
Gaul eating a lizard as he's talking to Perrin.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my mid-morning snack. Midnight snack.
Listen, I know you shouldn't kiss people without your consent, but how iconic would it be if Gaul just went out of that cage and just, like, kissed Perrin on the mouth?
And it was Perrin's sexual awakening. That would be iconic. And, like, Fail's watching creepily from the
Yeah, I mean,
corner,
I would
like
enjoy watching that.
Yeah, I'd be like, wow, damn. Good boys.
Gaul's just like...
Gaul's like, thank you.
Perrin's like, thank you.
I just want rescued men to act more like rescued princesses in fairy tales, you know? Like,
yeah.
oh, gentle sir.
Gaul's like, my husband.
Take a token, you know.
A token.
Hands you a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Lacy handkerchief.
His lacy handkerchief.
He does have his little veil, but he doesn't want to get rid of that.
That would be so funny.
I know,
He's just like, take this, and ties it around Perrin's face.
Perrin's like, what?
Very sensually.
Yeah, this whole, like, scene is just, like, reeks of, like, the weird racism against the ale, and Perrin is, like, talking about how it's connected to, like, the war when people, like, the ale came across and, I don't know, ravaged and pillaged for a long time or whatever. And then got to Kyrian, or Tarvalon and stopped. But,
it was Kyrian.
Well, they were, like, doing Kyrian, and then they were like, we're just gonna go all the way to Tarvalon, because I think that was, like, where the king was, or something.
Yeah. Who knows? They ended up, because they had to do the Dragon Mount thing, which is
blah, blah, blah. Rand's mom. Bleh. But it's just, like, this gross thing. Like, the ale in this instance, and in this particular moment in history, and, you know, with the, like, veil thing, are very much, like, related to Islam in that way. Like, they seem to receive much of the, like, same racism that Muslims in America do today. Muslims in America and a lot of other Western countries.
Yeah, but particularly, like, post 9/11.
Yes,
thinking
exactly.
that as, like, a cultural trauma, and, like, how Muslims have then been, like, vilified to the point where it's, like, America on one side and Muslims on the other in a lot of rhetoric, which is ridiculous, of course, but...
Yeah, and it's, like, this is a little different because there was a war, and they all, like, were technically the aggressors in that war. The invaders, but it's also, like, then you get into this, like, all these, like, layers of cultural trauma and, like, what Kyrian did to the ale and, like, I don't know, destroying their gift of the tree of life, literally, was also, like, a form of cultural trauma. And it's just, like, of course you can't compare a tree to thousands of human lives, but it's just this complicated situation.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, Gaul, no one deserves to be put in a cage.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gaul's like, well, that was bold and sexy of you, thanks. And then, like, a bunch of white cloaks roll up, and they literally have to fight them. Like, they kill, like, a dozen white cloaks right there.
Yeah, Gaul's like, nice!
I know, Gaul just, like, does some sweet flips and goes in and kicks a bunch of them until they die. And
I know. Imagine doing a flip when you're 6'9", though. I don't understand how tall people work.
I don't either.
Like, how do you move? That's a lot.
Like, imagine you're just a white cloak and then this giant man is just, like, doing flips right at you.
Yeah, and just,
I'd be like,
kicking you in the head.
I'd be like, I'm leaving. Like,
be like, girl, bye.
Jeremy, you've got this one.
Jeremy's like, I sure do. And then he and Gaul make out.
Jeremy's like, I sure do. Yeah, guys, I got it. Goddamn guy I ever saw.
And then they all leave, and then Jeremy and Gaul just fall in love.
Yeah, that's the ideal.
Is your boy okay?
Oh yeah, it would take him a minute to get there.
Beep, 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 beep.
Is your boy okay?
You said it was going to be 5 minutes, and it's been longer than 5 minutes.
You had to, like, walk up and...
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
He'll call me if he needs me. But... Blur. So they kill a bunch of white cloaks, and Perrin's like, violence, I hate this. Blood.
Gaul's like, violence, I love this.
Gaul's like, this is awesome.
I love doing fighting.
And Perrin's like, then they're just, like, standing there with, like, a bunch of dead white cloaks. And Perrin's like, I can't believe that you guys, like, 20 of you got taken down. I just saw you take down 10 guys. And Gaul's like, is that what they said? It was me and, like, my homie. He died and I got put in the cage, you know. It was like...
Yeah, it's 2 of us.
There was 2 of us, so maybe chill. And Perrin also, by the way, is like, what the fuck are you doing here? And Gaul's like, we're looking for, you know, the chosen one.
The Karn or whatever.
Yeah, and Perrin's like, yeah, me too, buddy, but he's going to Tyr. You're in the wrong locale. And Gaul's like, okay, thanks for the hot tip. And, like, trots off. Which is our first...
Clicks his heels.
Yeah, clicks his heels and is like, thanks, and says farewell.
Which is what an iconic entrance.
Yeah, an iconic entrance and exit, both from Gaul. And then Perrin is like, oh, now I'm just standing here alone with a bunch of corpses. And he, like, sees Fail, like, or he doesn't even, like, see her exactly. He's just, like, a girl with the same skirts or whatever. And then he's like, oh, well, this is shitty, and, like, is running back to the inn, and Lan's like, what the fuck did you just do? It just killed a bunch of dudes. And Perrin's like, yeah, I guess. It was kind of, like, heat of the moment type of thing. And Lan's like, what
that doesn't make any sense.
Murder? Murder?
Heat of the moment is like a tattoo.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What if Perrin got tattoos?
That'd be cool.
Make him more likable.
Yeah, it would make him slightly more likable. I don't know. Tattoos are, like, not a thing in the Wheel of Time universe, and it's like, I wish they were.
Cowards.
Yeah, cowards. Come on, give me tattoos.
Tattoos are so interesting.
I know.
Like, Matt would have so fun. So
they do cool things with piercings with the, like, sea folk, but give me more tattoos. Anyway, so that's that. Kind of like Lan's just like, okay, we gotta go. Like, pack up, run. And that's the end of the chapter. Anyway, my coworker could call me at any second for me to walk him through an issue, so do we have any housekeeping?
No, just the usual stuff. Oh, thank you. I fully have no concept of when we've recorded last, so if this was supposed to be a thank you last episode, I apologize. But thank you to Matt, who made a really fun animatic.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
That uses tub thumping, and I really love it.
It was great.
It's on our Twitters. You should go find it. It's really fun.
It's very fun.
Not that it was specifically for us, but I do appreciate that tub thumping was in it.
Thank you to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song. This is also my reminder to myself to put it in. Thank you for joining us. Sorry it was a weird energy in this one. Sorry for the interruption that I will no doubt, like, bleep out or do something.
That would be really funny.
Something under construction.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes in editing tomorrow. No, you're fine. We both had the week from hell. Do you have a sign off?
I do. A bunch of listeners have sent in sign-offs, so I apologize for not using them yet, but this just happened yesterday, and it was really funny to me. Yesterday was a crazy day at work. Today was a little crazier, but yesterday I was, like, running around doing a bunch of stuff, and Emily was texting me about how her nephew was going to be here today, and I was like, oh, that's fine. Obviously, he's adorable. And she's like, yeah, Tybalt's going to freak. And I And I thought I texted Emily, but it turns out I texted, good, the abject hero will be good for him. But I sent it to my boss. So just, like, no context. I texted my boss.
Oh my god.
Good, the abject hero will be good for him. And the worst part is that she never said anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that was like...
Terror.
And I only realized, like, 4 hours later. I was like, Emily never texted me back.
Nope, didn't
Nope.
get that one.
It was me.
Okay, well.
Anyway.
Thank y'all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Adios.